Today is off the record, on the QT, and very hush hush.
Oh, come on!
Secrets. Many of our favorite protagonists in fiction have hidden depths, and there's a natural urge to bring this to our tabletop creations, making characters that have secrets and keeping these hidden from other players. Maybe your character is a werewolf, a wanted criminal, the one true king of the realm in hiding. 'Cause hey, that sounds pretty cool.
It's quite cool.
However, I'm going to talk about why I usually run games where players create characters together at the first session or at a session 0 beforehand, and are honest with each other about their characters' backstories from day one. No secrets. Well, I definitely think that characters can have dark and mysterious secrets they keep from one another, because again, it's very cool. I believe that all the players should be in on it. They should know what's going on. And I'm going to go into how role-playing games and traditional media differ in their approach to secrets, and what I feel the benefits are to opening up. But first, let's go right to basics and ask, why are secrets cool? Secrets are precious. They exist in a fragile bubble only when they're not shared. Once they have been shared, the bubble has been burst, and the secret ceases to be. Because of this fragility, we give secrets a premium value, and holding on to one in its pristine state makes us feel important and privileged to have it, no matter how mundane that secret might be. What's more, secrets make us feel more clever and at an advantage than others. Knowledge has power, and I know something you don't know.
I know something you don't know. I know something you don't know. I know something you don't know.
Shut up!
The other pleasure gained by protecting a secret is that the secret yearns to be revealed. It is waiting to be known, and there is a radiating pleasure that lasts in all the time we hold a secret before we let it fly. Or as Dr. Frankenfurter would put it,
I see you shiver with anticipation.
this pleasure is more potent than you can think, with even research showing that holding on to positive secrets is so invigorating it can be beneficial to one's health. And yet, we find it difficult to maintain secrets despite this pleasure. I said they want to be free, but really, we want them to be free. We want that rush of showing our hand and be the sole provider of something exclusive to someone else. While holding a secret may feel tantalizing, revealing one is akin to the relief of a big old fart. And despite both kinds of expulsions being equally frowned upon when in public, in private we all love to spill the tea. So that's why secrets have developed such a potent aura about them. But secrets don't serve the same function in our day-to-day lives as they do in the media we consume. And likewise, secrets in traditional media are not the same as secrets at the medium of the roleplay table. When we think of character-based secrets in storytelling, we often think of the big reveal, that moment of narrative catharsis when the cards are laid on the table in a grand gasp of a moment. Agatha Christie mastered this with her regular use of the classic summation gathering trope in her murder mysteries. That's the scene we all know where the detective brings together all the suspects for a crime in one room, one of which we know is guilty. These scenes stretch out the tension with an explanation before culminating in an accusation where the killer is revealed.
Betty!
You
Anna! Not so fast, miss. Mademoiselle Nick.
You silly little man.
Everything that was in shadow is laid bare, and order is now restored. In other stories, a secret's reveal may not just make things clear, a major plot twist at the climax of a movie can throw everything that came before into a new, shocking state of chaos. But neither of these kinds of reveals exactly translate when it's a player character in a game rather than on a page or screen. Like books and film, role-playing is a storytelling medium, but it's totally distinct in how information is crafted, delivered, and interacted with. These differences matter because it means we digest the information in a completely different fashion. Best described by media theorist Marshall McLuhan in his statement, "The medium is the message." When you watch a film or read a book, there are clear roles, meaning there is the text and there is the viewer. The text and the elements that make up its components are a single mass that can't be interacted with. The text is then placed behind a wall of structure, the scenes and their framing, to provide a curated point of view. From this fixed perspective, packets of information are fed to the audience at a pace and rating of importance that is predetermined. The audience then feels an emotional response based on this crafted and then focused laser of information. This kind of non-interactive media is an example of what McLuhan called hot media.
That's hot. Yes.
In a role-playing game, however, I see the information transfer far more in line in what McLuhan would call cold media, where the creation of and interaction with information is far more fluid. First, the text's enforced structure, that's gone, it's removed, as the separation of the players from the text. They are now participants, experiencing the text and changing it from within. The players provide and inform their characters' decisions, whose actions change the existing information regarding the game world, which in turn affects the text. The GM, who is also a part of this textual interaction, receives feedback from these updates to the game world, and they then provide or withhold updated information to the players. The players can then continue the cycle by responding to this new information and inform new decisions. A complicating issue with secrets is that the players in an RPG are individuals. Firstly, because each controls an individual character, but also when you start to introduce secrets, a player with a secret now just filters their informed character's actions through a new layer of information only they have access to. They're having an experience that's kept completely to themselves. The players are no longer what you could consider a collective audience. That's one reason why, unlike a mystery novel or a film that might climax on a protagonist's reveal, an entire campaign or scenario at the table is highly unlikely to end on a player character's reveal. RPGs are collaborative, and there isn't a big collaborative payoff if one player already had access to this information.
Wow.
That's why there is a different approach to secrets, which I find works better with the structure of most role-playing games. That approach is dramatic irony. Dramatic irony is a tool in fiction where the audience gains enjoyment from the tension by knowing information that the characters in the text do not. The entire audience is collectively in on a secret. For example, in Romeo and Juliet, we all know that Juliet has taken a magic potion that makes her seem dead, but actually isn't. Romeo doesn't know this and thinks Juliet is dead. So we are gripped by tension when he is going to kill himself in response to this. We know something he doesn't. In the film Something About Mary, we know the cops have mistaken Ted, played by Ben Stiller, for a serial killer. But he doesn't know this, and he thinks he's been arrested for harmlessly picking up a hitchhiker. We enjoy the schadenfreude of him saying things unknowingly that make him sound more and more like a psycho.
I don't know, 25, 50, I mean, who keeps track? Hey, you know, I know this is the Bible Belt and everything, but where I come from, this is not that big a deal. I mean,
You son of a bitch. You're gonna fry.
Last example, in Breaking Bad, we know Walter White is the criminal mastermind selling meth, but his police officer brother-in-law, Hank, doesn't, which results in several moments where we relish Hank not figuring it out.
WW. I mean, who you figure that is, huh? Woodrow Wilson? Willy Wonka? Walter White?
You got me.
An absolute master of this kind of dramatic irony to create suspense and tension was Alfred Hitchcock. Explaining the technique, he talked about imagining two people at a table.
Talking about baseball, whatever you like. Now take the same scene and tell the audience there is a bomb under that table and will go off in 5 minutes. Well, the whole emotion of the audience is totally different because you've given them that information that in 5 minutes' time that bomb will go off. Now the conversation about baseball becomes very vital because they're saying to you, don't be ridiculous, stop talking about baseball, there's a bomb under there. You've got the audience working.
And we can apply dramatic irony to our role-playing games by sharing our characters' secrets with each other. Instead of separate bubbles, your players as a collective now experience the tension and reveals about their characters together. They're all creating choices through the same filter. Your characters are none the wiser, but together your players all are. You are once again an audience, viewing the characters' actions through a collective lens of dramatic irony. But how does an ironic approach work in practice, and why do I think it's better for role-playing games? Let's say a character has a secret, that they are a werewolf. They are a secret werewolf, which is going to be my go-to phrase for a player with a secret from here on in. Secret werewolf. There's so much enjoyment that can only come from players knowing the score while their characters don't. A haughty, noble NPC calls a secret werewolf a filthy beast during a tense scene in the throne room, and the secret werewolf responds to that insult. You don't know the half of it. Well, that line would just be weird and confusing if none of the other players were aware of the context that there was a secret werewolf there. It would just be a private joke no one gets but that one secret werewolf player, and maybe the GM. And the player might even avoid saying this at all because of that. But with the other players being aware of the secret werewolf, that player going, you don't know the half of it, that lands hard around the table. In fact, players can set up these kind of moments between each other. And from my experience, they do. One PC could offer to buy the secret werewolf a silver chain as a gift and roleplay the awkward interaction that ensues as the secret werewolf adamantly refuses a silver chain. Which brings me to a potentially negative outcome if the knowledge shared was different. Imagine that same scene, but this time it's by complete coincidence because player 1 legitimately doesn't know about the secret werewolf player's condition. That sounds exciting to us, right? Because we're imagining that through a layer of dramatic irony. Oh. They don't know! But for the actual players in that situation, this potential accidental outing might not be so fun. Players with secrets can get kind of hung up about keeping them. The preciousness of having a secret overwhelms them, and it can actually be pointlessly distracting for them in general throughout a game. They worry that there's this perfect time for their perfect dramatic reveal.
Have you ever experienced a perfect moment in time?
A perfect moment.
When time seemed to stop, and you could almost live in that moment?
And they may get stressed out or annoyed any time they feel the right moment hasn't arrived, but it's coming at random. And indeed, there is a real chance another player could unknowingly spoil their secret and get it revealed at an anticlimactic time, with no one meaning to. The Secret Werewolves player now feels bummed. But taking an ironic, knowing perspective towards your secrets means players are more likely to not stress as much about hitting exact character beats and showing their hand when it just seems cool in that moment. Hell, if you obsess about holding on to a secret, there's also just the chance that it never gets revealed at all, especially if the secret werewolf just dies during a game or the game ends unexpectedly. Your secret werewolf player is just left going afterwards, "Oh, by the way, everyone, I was a werewolf." And they go, "That's cool, I guess." Your secret was wasted. Another thing many players who love secrets won't want to hear is that the secret they're guarding, it's probably only a big deal to them. Because when it gets revealed, if it even does so, at a time that they think is perfect, it still might not land, with that thunderclap they expect. Other players might still go wow at the reveal and think it's cool, but it's quite likely won't be as mind-blowing as the secret werewolf hopes, because there frankly wasn't enough reason for the other players to feel as invested in the build-up to this, or even have it build up at all. TV shows and films have a much bigger advantage of being able to hint at something important over time to be revealed, with repeated lingering shots, tight close-ups, and dramatic music cues. Things that say, "Look at this," so when the reveal lands, you're prepped for maximum effect. But it's very difficult for a player or GM to just say, "Hey, this is important," without it being strange and obvious and a big giveaway. None of this is a worry, and there's just more fun to be had if all the players simply know. It's actually worth considering the feelings of the other players interacting with a secret werewolf. Not only can they feel guilty if they make a secret werewolf player sad by outing them accidentally, they can feel legitimately confused and irritated when a secret werewolf player just seems to be being awkward or stubborn for no rational reason. Imagine that your party wants to stage a daring nighttime raid on the villain's stronghold, but the secret werewolf player realizes this would be on the night of the full moon, and has their character try to argue for an alternate night or a different course of action for their character, a different plan. Now, if the players know the score, that this is a secret werewolf, it's a fun scene that they can play out and play along mock frustration with. "Why are you saying that?" But if they don't, they'll just feel real frustration, as they think that secret werewolf player is being weird and immovable for no reason.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way.
Sure, they might find out the truth later and appreciate it better then. But games are not a film you appreciate as a curated package after the laser beam transmission is over. You enjoy a game mostly as a mess in the moment, in the continuing now. And at that now, that awkward player, they just suck.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
But frankly, the biggest reason to share secrets is it just invests other players in your character. Players often get a bit foggy about other players' characters. They're focusing way more brain power on their character than who everyone else is running. And that's especially so in the first few sessions. Players will often just default to thinking of other player characters by what class they play or the skills they have. "Oh yeah, that's Jeff's character, the broody rogue," or I want to say elf. But by sharing at creation, your players will actually have a more rounded, better understanding of each other's characters, their motivations, and they'll probably feel more investment in their stories. They're playing Hydraxia, the halfling who feels immense guilt for wiping out her clan after turning into a werewolf and has joined our group to escape and hopefully find a cure before we all find out. The knowledge you share is bonding, and you can bake this bonding even more at creation. Players who have open secrets can more easily craft related or interlinking backstories. If one player has a secret werewolf, then perhaps another player in your group is a secret monster hunter. This means you can ramp up the tension along the way and have a more emotional reveal when that monster hunter discovers who their comrade is. These kinds of open table backstory secrets are also useful when new characters join the group, so you can tie these new characters into the party more organically with a hidden connection than just that random guy you met on the road.
Hello.
But regardless if you choose to have the backstories for your characters related or not, character plot points that come up which might only have a punch for one character now hit every player because they know what's going on. Lastly, there's a rather boring and selfish reason I don't care for individual secrets. I think it puts a needless pressure on the DM, especially if they have to spend time crafting scenes or moments that relate to a secret that no one else at the table will get anything out of except for the secret werewolf player. GMs have a lot to juggle in and out of playtime, and constantly having to remember that one specific player is keeping something to themselves can be really difficult. There's also the risk that they might do the secret werewolf an unintentional slight by maybe forgetting about it amidst the chaos, and no one ends up happy from that. So be open and save your GM a solo burden. Now, saying all those reasons why I like a table of transparent players, I'm going to be honest, there are exceptions, and there are things to consider if you're going to do it. Secrets can be abused. There are an endless number of threads online about players taking unfair advantage of the knowledge their characters don't have. Now, this abuse could range from the mostly harmless but not really sporting habit of metagaming. Say there's a cleric in your party, and they're not throwing holy water into a melee because the secret werewolf might get splashed. That's basic metagaming, and it's annoying. But there could be something worse than that. It could be something more sinister, like a player not just providing those wink-wink teases to another character's secret that I mentioned, but straight up trolling them for it. Like offering the secret werewolf a water bottle full of holy water to drink for no reason, and insisting the other player's character has to drink it because they don't know it's holy water. Frankly, both of these issues are about trust and the social contract we agree to when we sit down together to play. Your players should be able to act like adults and treat each other with respect, separating player knowledge and character knowledge. In the case of metagaming suspicions, a gentle reminder to the group at a suitable break will likely do it. But if it's that latter example and there's actual bullying happening at your table, that's another issue entirely. That player is being a jackass, and you will need to deal with them personally. It's not okay, and that it has nothing to do with storytelling formats. Secrets or no, they should know better, and they need to get their ass back in line. But forgetting those edgy, serious concerns, should full openness be part of every single game? Hell no! There are even several role-playing systems where discretion is integral. For instance, there is Free League's utterly fantastic Alien RPG. Have I got my copy here? Yes, I do. There. Now, the game has a big dose of dramatic irony in its enjoyment factor. Unlike their characters, players know the horrible things that exist in the Alien franchise's universe, like xenomorphs, and enjoy putting their space truckers into situations that the players would run away from. We know to stay away from the big moist eggs, but our characters won't and will go poke them. But the Alien RPG does differ greatly from other games in that it has character secrets baked into it as a mechanic, where each player has a secret agenda, unknown to the other players, of what their character wants to accomplish, and can even be hiding crucial information that utterly changes things, like they aren't even human and they're actually an android.
You never said anything about an android being on board. Why not?
This is because games like the Alien RPG have a different goal than the majority of role-playing games. In most role-playing games, there's what I'd like to call an idealistic approach. You are generally expected to or hope to survive, and you are expected to survive by working together as a team. In Alien, the genre is horror and the goal is paranoia. Survival, well, maybe hoped for, is far from expected by the players. People joke about Call of Cthulhu being this big scary meat grinder for characters, but it doesn't compare to the Alien RPG. You can go into a game of Alien knowing that it's not only extremely likely you'll get wasted and be given another NPC to control, that's part of the experience. And because your character's not long for this world, you are actively encouraged to question the actions of other players who are doing everything they can to achieve their goals, possibly at your character's expense. The point in the Alien RPG isn't even that you've got a secret, it's that everyone else has a secret, and that presents a danger to you. This mechanic serves the genre of horror the game is set in, where fear itself is the thrill. In other games like high fantasy, that kind of interplayer paranoia can be a distraction and even lead to parties functioning badly. But secrets work great for any game set in a genre where mistrust is the focus, and your players clearly understand that established tone. Tales set in worlds of espionage, politics, or intrigue, or even down and dirty certain death one-shot scenarios that won't rely on long-term cohesion or plot development. They all work with this. For these kind of games, I definitely make an exception to my openness policy on secrets. Viva la secrets in that case. Finally, I must reiterate that even if your players are playing at an open table like I support with no secrets between them, that doesn't mean there aren't secrets in the story they play. There should be plenty of unknown elements in their game world for players to discover about places, people, events, and objects. As a GM, it is your job to generate the shocks of those reveals. The world you master should be reactive, and many of the secrets your players discover can stem directly from the consequences of their characters' actions and the hidden backstories of their lives. The only difference is they can now enjoy them together as one. So, let your players do the sharing, and it's up to you to do the caring. Thank you very much for watching. I know that these sort of RPG culture deep dive vids are a bit of a strange diversion from the meat and potatoes of the module guides I was doing, but I think they're a nice basic palate cleanser for me between having to really look at a module close. They let me rant about the hobby, which is something I love, and I'm really enjoying what's happening here, that I'm posting these vids and you guys are commenting and have opinions, and I'd love to know your opinions on running an open table. Even if you think I'm a jackass, I'd love to know it. Maybe if you generally have secrets at your table that other players don't know, try running a game where they all do know each other's secrets and tell me how it goes. I'd love to know. Be my lab rat. But in the meantime, I hope you all, have a wonderful day, and remember the old saying, better out than in.